Good morning. I want to show you the beauty of this tree. Listening to the chirping of the bird in the background. I'm sitting here in the parking lot after having my teeth cleaned. And it was quite an endeavor, quite an experience today in COVID, right? I was masked, my temperature was taken, questions were asked. My friend, the hygienist, was fully masked and gloved and shielded, and we proceeded into this typical practice under a heightened sense of security. There was a real vulnerability to this experience. I entrusted myself to her, and she entrusted herself to me, hoping that both of us, that nothing would take place that would be adverse to our health because of this experience. In our conversations this week, we've talked a lot about the liminal area, the area that brings us in our lives, that brings us to the threshold. And I'm thinking to myself how much vulnerability needs to be part of the way we face our lives. We want to protect ourselves. We don't want to be vulnerable. But how can we come to the point where we offer that final gift back to God, the gift that God has given to us, unless we are vulnerable? Unless we are willing to accept that we are not perfect, and we haven't done the best job probably that we could have in our life. The sum of our life is also the sum of our best efforts. And at the time, that was the best that I could do. Vulnerability in prayer, vulnerability with the God who loves us, vulnerability with one another, vulnerability with myself. Do I dare look at myself with both eyes? Or do I only want to see what I'm really proud of? And when I talk about the sum of my life, there are gray areas in there that I'm not so happy with. I wish God and others would not see. But I guess integrity and vulnerability means allowing myself to be completely whole, standing before God with just the gift of me, the flawed, defective, hyperly effortful gift of me. When I was growing up and we would bring our report cards home to our parents, my dad would always take the report card and look first at effort. And he said, that's the thing that matters the most to me, Monique, is did you try? Did you give it your best shot? And that was always a huge relief for me. I mean, grades were all right for me too, but that was really intriguing for me that my dad would say effort was most important. You're trying. You're doing the best you can. Some days you're more successful than others. Some days you are more forgiving and loving and patient than others. This life is not about running the race and crossing the finish line to get the trophy. It's about running the race. It's about what we experience on the way. That when we do get to that final end, when we do face that final loving accountability of ourselves to God, where we cross the threshold of one life into the other, have I been honest with myself? Have I been okay in vulnerability? And dear God, I'm not there yet, which is probably why I'm still alive. God, give us the grace to be able to trust you with our whole selves, not to hide anything, to be completely, utterly vulnerable with you.